start.
All right, today we're going to go over the replacement of an ignition switch on a 500 HISUN. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your key's not in the ignition. And there is a key code that usually comes standard with all our vehicles. And for instance, this key code is a 039, and that key code is very important because that's the only way we will be able to give you replacement keys if you happen to lose them. So the first thing you're going to want to do after you remove the keys is remove the 3 Phillip head screws for the upper shroud of the steering column. There's 1 here and 2 on the opposite side. So once you get those 2 screws off, the 3 screws off, you can remove your upper shroud. There is a tab on the back end that requires you to pull up, and as you can tell, here's that tab. And then it actually goes into. So the next thing you would do is remove the lower half of this shroud, so that way it'll gain access to the key switch. And that's going to be done by 2 Phillip head screws at the bottom of this shroud. Once you remove that, the shroud should just come right off, and that will give you access to the key switch. Once you get the lower shroud removed, you can see your key switch here, and you would actually remove the 4 Phillip head screws that hold the key switch bracket in place. Once you remove them, you should be able to pull up on your bracket. Okay.
Yep.
So sometimes you may have to pull up on the side in order to get it to release, but once you get it removed, that should release your upper bracket, and then you'll be able to slide the bottom bracket off too. On your key switch itself, it has a locking mechanism for the steering wheel. Sometimes that you have to make sure that the steering wheel is in the right position as you put this in. So once you get the key switch removed, what you're going to do is you're going to trace back your key switch wiring to underneath the hood. So once you trace back the wiring for the key switch, which then comes through the firewall, and you'll have to cut this zip tie in order to release the connector. And then you would replace it with a new zip tie. So this would be your key switch connector, and you would just push down on the tab, remove it, and then pull your key switch through the firewall. And if you happen to lose your key or your key code is actually stamped on the cylinder, which then a duplicate key can be cut with that key code. So to do the reinstallment, you would actually take your key switch, feed the wire through the firewall, grab it on the inside, pull it through, connect it to your connector, make sure it's on there. You feed your wire and get it connected, and then you're going to put it underneath the bottom side of your column. Then you'll take your upper bracket, slide it over, and then screw it back down. Then the next thing you would do is you would install your lower shroud. with the 2 Phillip head screws that go on the bottom.
Go.
So the next thing you would do is you would install your upper shroud. And then reinstall the 3 Phillip head screws. Very last step is to test the key switch.